Howdy folks, how you doing? So, this is the first Conquerors Blade podcast that I am running with a load of other content creators. Now, this is about an hour long and we discuss a load of different topics. What I would suggest is play Conquerors Blade while having this on in the background, because we do go on a little bit. It is quite a long podcast, but very informative, very, I think, entertaining as well. So in the podcast, I will introduce who is actually part of it, and then from there we'll carry on and discuss the topics and everything as well. So what I need you guys to do is, if you enjoyed this, please do let me know in the comments below, because we are looking at rolling this out probably every couple of weeks, and we would really love your feedback on it in how to improve or what kind of things you would like to see from the podcast as well. Also, if you have any questions for the next podcast, please do let me know in the comments below as well. Just one side note, this podcast was actually recorded a day before the official announcement of season 4. So actually going through this podcast, just bear in mind we had no news whatsoever of season 4 yet. So actually have a look and have a listen and see how right and how wrong we were on certain topics for season 4. I hope you really enjoyed this podcast. Please do let me know in the comments below if you do, or if there's anything that you would like to see change for the next one. However, I will leave it there, and again, I hope you enjoy it. Have a good listen, and I will see you next time. Hello everyone, this is Conquerors Blade, first podcast, and we're looking at doing this, rolling this out probably every couple of weeks maybe, to see how you guys like this. So this is just a bunch of us content creators. Everything that we say and everything that we talk about is not official news, or it could be not official news. So we're not in any way affiliated with Conquerors Blade or the developers or anything like that. We are literally just the guys that make stuff on Twitch and on YouTube. So I'm Glenn and I run Coffee Fuel Gaming. This is Zim.
Hey, what's going on?
Who runs Zimster on Twitch, and we've got Ruddus as well, who is Ruddus on Twitch.
That's correct, yes.
Yes.
Mouflon is also here, by the way.
Oh, we got Mouflon now, have we?
He has arrived.
He has
Sorry,
snuck in. That's alright, buddy. We're just doing introductions. So, do you want to tell everyone where you put your content, Mouflon, onto YouTube or Twitch or both?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm a Twitch streamer based in the UK and playing on the EU West 1 server.
Awesome. And what is Mouflon your name?
Yeah, so Mouflon 77 in Twitch as well.
Sweet. So what I'll do for everyone listening is I'll put links in the description box below of this YouTube video with links to all of our different Twitch and YouTube channels, so you can go on and you can check out any of us. We all do pretty different things. Like Zim does a lot of guides and walkthroughs and funky stuff. I do a lot of walkthroughs, guides, educational stuff for Conquerors Blade, but also news pieces as well. Ruddus, I know, just streams, and he streams a lot of live gameplay, and yeah, moans quite a bit. Mouflon, what do you do? Do you just do usual gameplay, or do you do anything in particular?
Just mostly sieges. I quite enjoy the battles and stuff, and then a relatively casual stream. I try to do a few hours of Conquerors Blade, and then because I'm quite into my spaceships, anything space related, so I usually do a space game at the end as well, just for an hour.
Are you playing Emporion?
I used to play Emporion quite a lot, actually. We used to have, as a community, we used to have our own Emporion server as well.
Okay.
Actually, at one point we had 3, but we had to move our server during lockdown, which was a nightmare. So it's currently sat in a box in someone's house until we can move it to Sweden. So,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, so we all do a few different things. Now what the plan is we're going to be rolling out this podcast, like I said, every couple of weeks or so, and we're going to be bringing different people in. We're also going to hopefully be having people like Caden and Drew, so the community and the influencer managers, jumping on as well. Some of them have already expressed interest when big announcements are happening. So when big news is happening for Conquerors Blade, expect one, if not two, if not a few more on this podcast as well, because we would like to roll this out as a weekly thing, and what we'll probably look at doing is probably having a regular couple of us on each podcast, but then bring a couple of other extra specials in each different week. And then what we're going to do is actually just talk over the game, talk over what kind of things have been happening in the past couple of weeks, what's kind of coming up in the next few weeks as well, and then kind of opening it up to questions that we receive on earlier podcasts, which are going to be going up onto my channel mainly, although I'm sure that some of the other guys are going to be posting videos up on their channels as well. So I know Zim is currently live streaming this, so if there are any questions that come in from any of you guys that are watching Zim's channel right now, we will endeavour to answer them. But again, just remember, we're only content creators, we're not officially affiliated with Conquerors Blade, so anything that is not already published in the news or that's common knowledge, we're not going to know either, because we literally do not get told anything other than what you guys get told, which is quite infuriating to be honest. And I've had many a chat to try and get us stuff before, so we can actually make stuff on it. But it's it's not gone well, those chats.
It'd be fun to get a dev. Like, I know content managers are great and all, but like if we can get a hold of a dev, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be. Yeah, I mean, if any devs are listening,
elusive as a rare Pokemon. You're not getting one of them on here.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I think they're going to be spending more time making the game than talking about it. But if there are any devs that want to come on, it's going to be more the merrier, I think, on here.
Nice. Do you guys? I do have some codes to give away too. If you guys have any, I don't know if we're doing that at all for this. But
Zim, if you want to do it as a special first podcast, then by all means you go for it, man.
Yeah, I'll wait towards the end or somewhere in the middle. Maybe do two, one in the middle and one at the end.
Yeah, no worries. So really, that's kind of leading on to the first topic I want to talk about. Actually, is just how relied maybe a bit too strong a word, but actually how much Conquerors Blade community managers, influencer managers actually do give out to us content creators. I don't know if you guys have had it, but actually I have been given a lot of stuff, not only for myself, but also to give away as well.
Yeah, I get a lot to give away.
Yeah.
They won't give me the tag, so none.
Well, hopefully soon, Rod. Hopefully after this you'll get a few more.
Fingers crossed.
So,
yeah, I seem to get quite a bit as well, which is quite nice. It really helps as well, because it is kind of a two-way thing, isn't it? We're kind of promoting Conquerors Blade. Obviously, it's such an incredible game, and I'm still dumbfounded by how few people know about the game as well. And it's such a fantastic game as well.
That's it. I think it's still for some reason, still very under the radar, isn't it?
Yeah, which is odd, which is really strange. I mean, there is
a bad rep from a lot of people, though, because, I mean, previous drama that the game has had, I think, has pushed people away. But I think if they patch them out and they actually start advertising it a bit more, I mean, it's like they did a sponsorship thing mad recently with, I think it was the Yogscast who they did it with. That brought in like a massive wave of new players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also, I mean, people have seen what they could do with Season 3, and I think that was, I think one of the best seasons so far, in my opinion anyway. And
I would say it's definite improvement. I don't know if you guys ever played Season 1, but it's a massive improvement on Season 1, and I know they were just trying to find their feet and everything with that one, but Season 2 I think they really did well on. But yeah, Season 3 I think they're pretty much there. There's a few things still that can be changed, that can be optimized, but I think they're definitely going the right way about it, aren't they?
I mean, content-wise, it's definitely like there's a lot of changes this season that actually changed the meta majorly, which is exciting. Unless you're not good with change, but yeah, I mean, they actually gave us a curveball this season, which they should hopefully do every season to kind of change the meta of the game. Keep building the arsenal of units, and just all these different combinations of units just give us so much different types of strategy, which is what I love about the game. So that's something That's pretty interesting. That because they always can come out with more units, so this game can expand for a very long time.
That's the thing. They've got a never-ending source of things they could put into this game, and they've got just so many different types from so many different historical places that they can actually put into this. But before we move on to what kind of units you would like to see in the game, how do you all feel about Season 3? Do you think they've done it pretty well? Do you think there's anything in particular that they could have done better, that maybe we're still waiting for them to do better?
My only comment is they brought out a unit that caused the entire game to go into drill mode for a territory war. Which kind of summed up
that
this
did
season
happen.
for me. Like,
Machine guns.
I think the season is incredible. I think they've done a really good job. However, I cannot understand how you release a unit that is just fundamentally broken. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, I know I complain a lot, and I said that at the beginning, but I just I can't understand that logic. You know, surely that would have been flagged up before. Like, it cancelled. I mean, Mouflon, you play on the US one. It cancelled a territory war. I don't know about NA and stuff. I wasn't there, but it literally cancelled a territory war.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very weird experience as well, because halfway, I think it was after the first place we attacked, we started realizing that we were losing units. So we had this fear as well at the point as well that actually it wasn't a drill. So there was lots of comments on the Conquerors Blade Discord as well. Is this a drill? Is it still a drill? And then I think somebody in the background flicked a switch and realized. But because they did that halfway through the half through the territory war, it created problems for the next couple of days as well. So a lot of people didn't get their cities back that they expected after the drill mode as well. So it was, I mean, they got it back to normal again. Things do go wrong with, with other games as well. But yeah, I totally agree. It was very odd that the whole thing started from the Pavis crossbowman being bugged. And like you said, I mean, that should have been tested, should have been checked and stuff like that.
Profusely tested, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they've got the opportunity to. I mean, they've got us guys as well that are always happy to jump onto the test server and test, units to oblivion. So it's definitely something they can probably learn from as well.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, from what I've seen, I think they are still learning some big lessons, and they're learning them quite hard ways. So for example, the whole crossbow situation, because even that territory war as well, I think they kind of cocked up massively with that, because the fiefs didn't even reset properly after that one either, did they? I think it was that one that they all kind of bugged out on.
Yeah, it was like a 3-day reset on the fiefs.
Yeah,
I mean, as I said, this game, it's a massive game, right? Like, I'm not expecting it to be like, bang, it's perfect. Like, it's not. I mean, you even go and play World of Warcraft right now. Like, it's not a perfect game in any sense of the matter. Like, but what I'm saying is that for that to get released and break the game is like baffling to me. Like, you know.
Yeah, but hopefully they've learned.
I mean, yeah, hopefully lesson learned.
Yeah, that's it. So, and it was annoying. It was annoying for the week, because obviously the crossbows got.
At least we didn't lose anything because of it.
Yeah, that's
like,
the
that's
thing.
one thing.
Nothing really bad happened. Luckily, they managed to sort it in the end.
That's when Borderlands opened too. That was the first week Borderlands opened for us. I'm not sure if it was the same for you guys.
I think it was about a week before for us.
Oh, a week before for you guys.
I think I was got
maybe
pushed
a
back.
few days. Yeah.
Oh wow, we're ahead of you then. Okay. Because I remember being in the Borderlands when they're like, "Oh, we're doing drill wars because of the issue with the Pavis or Pavis." How do you guys say it? Do you say Pavis or Pavis?
Pavis, I guess.
Pavis.
Pavis, yeah.
Pavis, yeah.
No, I think so too. Sometimes I say it the other way. I'm like, wait, that's not right. Because I hear people say it a few different ways. So.
I've heard Pavis as well, which sounds a bit odd.
It's just one of those words that you just don't ever know. And I don't think we ever will know.
No.
I mean, you've got, what is it, Conditori and Falconetti, which, I mean, Glyn, you're in the same house as myself. I mean, we call them confetti guards because
Yeah.
nobody can pronounce it properly. Yeah. So
And the pasta pikes just to make
yeah.
it easier. So what has there been anything else from season 3 that you guys would say that they could do better in the future?
Maps.
Yes.
Okay.
I wish there was more maps. I wish they would have came out with like every new season. I feel like should have like seasonal maps too. So like if we're doing maps or if we're doing units, like Italian, for example, like it would have been cool if we would have got some Italian castles or something, or Italian sieges or Italian field, like something, like, that would have been really cool if they could have oriented like maps with the season. A little bit, and still have the old ones, like rotate the older siege maps in, but that way they can, I mean, I know it's a lot of work for them to come up with maps, so maybe that's why they didn't, and they wanted to try to stay as close to the deadline. That's my guess, but I would have loved to see more maps.
I'm completely in the same boat. I mean, I was speaking to one of the moderators in the Discord the other day, and don't get me wrong, you can't blame the moderators. They're not part of the company whatsoever in any way or shape or form. But I said to him, I was like, we've not had a new map this season. We've not had new maps in gosh knows how long, like. And then he turns around and was like, yeah, but you've had the Great Wall and like what was the other one, the Sea Raiders. They're not new maps, I've PvE ran them thousands of times last season. Like running my head into a wall. That's not a new map.
Yeah.
I know it's even if it's 3 maps released through the season, like first event, this map comes out. Second event, new map comes out. Third event, new map comes out.
Yeah, I'm saying that actually. That's one thing I've noticed this season is the PvE events don't seem to be as many as they were last season. There seem to be a lot more PvE events during season 2. Whereas I don't know if it's just me not playing as much, but it does seem like we've just been stuck with really the one PvE event this season. That's it. Like
well, yeah, they did Great Wall, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it. But whereas before we had Battle at White Elk, we had the Sea Raiders. I'm glad talking about maps that they brought back Harbour City for this season, because that's a map actually I really missed. Totally forgot about, but actually really missed when I started playing it again.
Yeah, that's a nice map. I really like that map. Yeah, I totally agree as well. I think that idea about, obviously having the Italian units and having an Italian sort of castle, that would have been fantastic. So be definitely interested to see what they do in season 4, whether they... I don't know, have you, Zimster, have you mentioned that to them about maybe an idea for season 4 is to get a map to match the units that they're bringing in?
I haven't brought it up. I actually just thought of it. So you guys are free to share that idea too.
Yeah.
I mean, if more people talk about it, the more attention I'll get. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I've so I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've literally about last week put a video out onto my channel actually asking what kinds of maps people would like to come into the game, and a lot of people have come up with things like navy battles, so battles on like ships that are tied together, or battles within castles and things like that. So for a siege, you do the initial part of the siege, but then you actually move the battle inside the castle. What would you think if they brought a map in like that?
Or what, like arriving on the boat as if it had arrived on the boat?
Yeah. So you've kind of got like a map broken into stages.
Well, they've got the assets for it. I mean, I don't know if you've walked around harbour on that side.
Yeah, they do actually. Yeah,
the assets on that side are really nice. Yeah.
That map is huge. They can break that into 2 maps easily because there's a whole temple area on the outside that isn't even in the map, like the gameplay area. So it would be cool to see them actually maybe break that map up and have like a siege from the perspective of the boat and a siege from the perspective of the front gates.
I mean, you could even do something with the boats, like make them into siege towers. So there's cannons on the docks, and then you have to get a unit of serfs to row the boat in,
and people, and they can fire at it, and like
Give the boats just a ridiculous amount of health. Like, they're destroyable, but it takes a lot, you know? Like, you need to be putting down, like, purple arty or something.
Yeah, you would need, like, 4 purple. Yeah, something crazy. And plus, you would have cannons on the boat. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be actually a really cool fight. If they did something like that, that'd be almost a game changer for them.
Oh, yeah,
because
change the game entirely.
Yeah.
The thing is,
awesome.
like say they've already got the assets for it as well. I'm actually on playing Harbour City right now, so I'm just recording footage of all the boats. But actually, I've never been over here. I've seen boats in the distance, but I've never bothered actually coming over it. And I reckon not a lot of people have, to be honest. Like this bit of the map that I'm looking at with all the boats and everything, it's been separated off, but it's huge. Like, it wouldn't take a lot of work to really build this part of the map up, I don't think. So actually making like a navy kind of coming in, storming the shoreline, and then attacking the castle afterwards. And I think if they did that, possibly just with Harbour City, they expanded the map. I think, yeah, like you guys have said, that would totally change the dynamics of the game, or this map alone. It would totally change the dynamics, because what I feel right now with the maps that we have is they're so overplayed. We all know where to go, where the bottlenecks are, and everything that we need to do, how best to get around people and everything like that. But with something like boats and stuff that can be moved as such, they would change the maps up massively every single time you play the game.
I agree. It would create more opportunities for people, that maybe they mostly played Season 2, but didn't really play Season 3. They can come to the game and be like, oh, okay, well, this is a new map, that I can learn. Or, like, maybe it can pull people back to the game, too, if they, after a season, they're like, okay, I'm going to take a little break. It's also incentive to come back because they change stuff.
I think that's one of the main problems I'm facing at the moment with the game is, I mean, I love playing the game, and I've crammed hundreds of, if not thousands of hours into it, but I look around at the guys who are taking breaks now, and it's because they know every left corner hiding spot and every under the bridge move, and like, there's no progression of learning a new map.
Yeah, there's nothing new, is there? There's the one way to do it, and that's it.
New units is about, I mean, you can learn the units pretty quick, and also Maul class is pretty simple to learn, so that's all there really was to learn this season. So yeah, maybe they need to keep the higher up players, give them something more to incentivize them. Like I mentioned, if I know New World's big thing is their weapon system. They have a weapon mastery system, and that's going to be like their thing. So like what I suggest is, like, we find a weapon system that we can use that can be expanded a lot more than it is already. Like, maybe it creates, I know someone mentioned something along the lines of just effects to their weapons when they do abilities, because they mastered that ability or they mastered the weapon, stuff like that. Or if, like, mastery points could be a thing where it adds, like, little attributes just, like, over time. I don't know. Like, it'd be cool if there was something more to the hero classes.
Yeah, I think, because for the whole weapon system, I think it's very underutilized, because once you've unlocked all your skills, that's it, isn't it, for a weapon? I've got, like, thousands and thousands of skill points still for my glaive, but I've got nothing to use it on. I've got nothing to spend it on, and it's just wasted skill points, really. So, yeah, having something where, I don't know, you unlock for a certain amount of skill points, an extra move in, like, your combo of basic attacks or something of the sort, it gives you something still to work towards, doesn't it? And it actually starts to let you customize your weapon usage in comparison to other players as well.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's a lot there. What are some of your guys' ideas on that?
Muflon?
It's a tough one. I definitely think there needs to be something else. I mean, I know that they were trying to stick to this idea that once you reach sort of level 60 and then again level 100, you were more or less as equipped with your attributes as somebody that was level 1000. Do you know what I mean? So they wanted to kind of like create a game where new players could come in and stuff. But the problem being, obviously, is that older players like us then sort of lose interest a little bit. I mean, I left halfway through season 2, and then only came back when season 3 was going to go live, and that was just for me just to take a break from the game and stuff, and just to keep that the passion for the game as well, because like you guys said as well, it for older players, it's people just lose interest. It's like expedition. I find it difficult to look at an expedition
Yeah.
or bring myself to actually do an expedition because they haven't actually changed at all.
Yeah,
So,
that's a problem.
Yeah, I just, it's just in me that I just cannot do it anymore because I'm like, I've done my bit, and I feel like I just can't do them anymore. So I stick to Siege. I feel that Field is seems to still be slightly broken. We'll see with the new changes that they'll make during season 4 and stuff, whether that changes. But yeah, I think it definitely needs something. I mean, other games have, they have very little in terms of it. They've got skins, so people play the game to earn skins and stuff. But they're in. I mean, it's nice to see in season 3 they kind of brought in a lot of skins, and they've given the opportunity to a lot of people that don't even have like the battle pass to be able to obtain some of them as well. So that's pretty good. But maybe to see more customization as well for the characters. But I like the idea of the sort of like attribute customization, or something that you can use on your weapons. Like they've got the apothecary there that can make, I don't know, something that gives you a boost for a match or something like that, or
yeah, I wish there was some cooler processes of like getting things. Like if they made it like you craft it, like maybe you can, I mean, they don't have to make like jobs or anything in the game, but what would be cool is if they did have a process of making things. Like what if there was a way to make your weapon glow a certain color or something, like you're saying, and like you can either make it or you can buy it, I assume, but there, I had another idea. Go ahead and bring up another topic. I'll try to think of it. It was a good one too. It's slipping my mind.
That's right.
It was based on that too.
So as we've mentioned season 4 a few times now, what kind of, firstly, what units do you think are going to be coming from season 4? So what kind of era of units do you think are going to be coming from season 4? And then I'll put out the second question I had as well. What other things do you want from season 4? So I know you moved on and you've just said actually new expeditions would be quite a good thing. We've already spoken about the maps and things like that as well, but is there anything else that you would like them to start introducing into season 4? Maybe not right from the start, but gradually through the season. Any changes to the mechanics or the gameplay or any of the actual systems already in the game?
Definitely something in the cities. I mean, if you take a sort of like a stroll through some of the towns and villages and stuff, there's some really quirky parts to it and stuff. But it would be nice to see whether they could actually make use of some of those buildings as well, and to actually give somebody something to do. Maybe as part of the taking over the city, you have something where you start building certain buildings inside there. So just they don't need to be something where you're placing it, but something, this needs to get built and it gets upgraded and stuff. And as the villages get upgraded, you see that inside it as well. So something maybe like that as well. More, I mean, like I said, the cities and villages are, architecturally they're fantastic, really well thought out as well. There's a few things that annoy the hell out of me, but it's only petty stuff. But that's only because I'm actually an architect by profession, so I notice these things. But overall, for a game developer to get that sort of detail is pretty beautiful. I'm just watching Zimster stream running through the city, and you have a look at all these little steps and stuff like that, all these little places where the bows are practicing, and then he's sort of making his way now into the kind of the square. And all of it is really well thought out, and it'd just be nice to be able to make more use of that space somehow.
I mean, just adding on to that. Sorry, Glyn.
Yeah, that's right.
Just adding on to that, you could almost add it into resource collection, because at the moment, unless you're crafting kits or doing thief quests, resource collection is pretty much null and void. So if you have, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're two pretty big parts of the game, but if you have like new guys coming into the game, you go, look, we need, I don't know, 1,000 cloud cotton so that we can build a tannery in the town, and then we can make this kit, because obviously they've introduced towns can make certain kits now. What if towns, after you've built a certain building, can make certain other kits as well, and then when it gets
unlock
attacked
them,
and when it gets attacked during the territory war, there's a chance that building could get destroyed, or when the thief downgrades, there's a chance the building could go. Stuff like that,
It'd be cool if it was kind of random too, like if it was like if you held it for like 2 TWs, all of a sudden maybe something pops up like, if you get, maybe there's like a challenge, if you do these thief quests, it'll unlock this a weaponsmith that comes to your town, and it'll have like these kits. Like that would be awesome.
Bit more
I think that would be
interactivity,
really
I think,
cool.
Is the key for it,
Yeah,
something to kind of grip players in a bit more.
Because at the moment, I mean, you take over a place, you take over a city or a village, and you're more or less the only house in there, apart from some wandering allies and stuff. So it might actually encourage other people to come to the village as well. So maybe making a hook that, by the way, we've just upgraded our weapon, smith to level 8, and we've unlocked a special attire that only this village can do now, and stuff. Little things like that just makes people move around a little bit more.
To be honest, that kind of system could develop as big as you wanted it to, though, because if that was the case where you had, say, you've captured town and you have exactly that, like a wandering guy comes over, gives you a quest for the house, you got to do it, and then that builds something. That will attract other people, which will then lead into actually giving your house more taxes as well, won't it? Because you'll be the owners of that fief as such. Yeah. You'll be able to tax other people coming to your town to build that certain kit, like, because that's another thing, is that all the fief quests and everything, all the systems are really underutilized, I feel, and they could really expand on a lot of them. They've got the really good basic groundworks for a lot of systems, but they could really expand on pretty much all of them massively if they just found the time to put a bit of work into these systems and start expanding things.
Exactly that, and it's also having the systems in place to actually be able to make kits, but I don't know, like, I can't even remember the last time I made kits, to be honest. And maybe I'm a little bit more fortunate because I've got the auxiliary units, and so it makes it less likely for me to kind of lose that much bronze. So when I am losing too much bronze, I usually switch to those just to gain a bit. But just trying to make a bit more use of that as well. I think because, like I said, the cities have so much space, but hardly any of it is utilized properly.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna bring up was what if they came out with like a war cry that they can add like an ability, and like maybe there's a way to like work on, or maybe you get to select different war cries for different hero classes. So like maybe it'd be cool if like you're in battle and like you do your war cry and it just gives you and your units a buff, or like maybe it can be an AoE effect.
So are you talking like kind of like the glaive one, which increases your damage, like that kind of?
Yeah, thing, I feel like they could change the abilities on all the heroes, even longsword with that damn heal. Maybe they get an option of a war cry where it can be a heal, or it's a speed boost, or it's an attack it's like a unit speed boost or attack speed boost or a range boost. Like it'd be cool if they can do stuff like that, and like they can build off of that. They don't have to change the heroes per se, maybe just some of them that kind of have those Warcry type things where it's like an AoE effect, and then just give everything an AoE effect, because I think Warcry is like a huge thing in battles and stuff. So why not make it something? Maybe you actually make a sound and like it can be heard across the map, so people know like, oh, someone activated a Warcry.
Yeah, that would be quite a good system, because you'd obviously, if you're going into battles with like housemates or like you normal groupies that you usually go in with, each of you could come in with a different Warcry then as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna rock these, and you can. It's another dynamic to the game that you can try to collaborate on with other people in your team of 5 or whatever. Maybe you can only boost people in your group or something. Like maybe there's something where there's a limit to how many people can be boosted by this.
You could do something like once somebody's triggered it, it's a 30-second cooldown in the fight. So nobody else can do it for 30 seconds. It would be like a Treb, for example. It's on your G wheel, which is only at the moment used for artillery and trebuchets.
Yeah, exactly. That would be really cool if you can do. They just add another function of where it's a Warcry, and maybe even your house can select what kind of Warcries too. Maybe it could be a house thing. It can be an individual thing. It could be a group thing. It'd be something just test and see what works out best.
Ruddus, what would you like to see then, Ruddus? So far we've got Mouflon's town expansions, and we've got Warcries. What would you like to bring in?
I want to see events, man. I don't want any more.
Events?
I don't not want free battles. I want Harbour City will appear on the map at some location, and it's like a server takeover of just huge amounts of AI fight. Like a big event or something.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I think the one problem at the moment, every house is pitted against. I mean, Mouflon, we started fighting you at the start of the season.
Yep.
Houses are pitted against each other still, right? There is nothing to bring the player base all together. If you are in another house, I don't like you.
Yeah, it does have that nature at the moment, and I think it's weirdly I never felt it before until season 3, and it's been much more noticeable in season 3, and I don't know if it's just that people have been in sort of lockdown and so coming online more and so getting more frustrated with things and things like that, but it does seem like there is something going on. And I agree with you as well. I think it's something that can bring the houses together as well. Obviously, it's a war. We still want to try and do good territory wars and stuff like that. But that's why I was thinking about the city customization, something that will pull people to those cities for a good reason. And I think that might actually help as well.
That's what I mean, though. You could even do Conquerors City prior to it opening, for example. There is a 300 versus 300 AI whatever fight. If you're at a house, you can register a 15 stack to that fight, and it will rotate in. So the players rotate in. You have to work together, and the houses have to actually, form a group up in order to beat this thing. And if you beat it, maybe there's a server reward or something. Something is then spawned, or all the resources on the map go purple for half an hour.
That would be cool.
This was something in New World, because New World went through a few iterations before it kind of got to a conclusion that actually they were going to sort of get rid of a lot of the stuff they did originally. So they actually worked out, doing buildable small towns and stuff like that, and they just scrapped the whole thing. And the main reason was because they saw that certain companies would have domination, and how they've kind of tried to resolve that is by having 3 different groups. So you join that group. So I think it's Mordorers, the Syndicates, and I can't remember what the third one is, but you're part of that guild, basically.
Is it a faction?
Faction, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Sorry.
Okay.
And so you're part of that faction. However, you still have your own house. and then it's the faction that holds, you know, a house from that faction holds, let's say, a fief, but the everyone from that faction can make use of that fief because it's within it. So it's in the interest of all the other houses to make sure this house holds that. And that's where the battles start. Sometimes they're internal because they're like, oh, we feel you're going weak and we don't want to lose this area, so we're going to take over. So you kind of have a mini civil war, which doesn't last very long because then they obviously would need to start defending against the other two factions. So it offers quite a different dynamic, I think. I don't know how you would apply that to Conquerors Blade, though. Whether you
could
would
do it region based.
I actually had an idea for that too.
Sorry, go on, Zim. Go ahead.
No, if you have an idea, go ahead. I was just going to
say
build off that too.
If like X house owns a town in Liangyun, it can participate in the event that happens in, like, I don't know, Daisheng or something, like a capital city takeover.
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea.
If you own a fief in the Borderlands, then the downside of only owning fiefs in the Borderlands is you can't participate in them. You know, gives more reason for guys not to just sit in Conqueror City the whole time and have to defend a land in a region somewhere. You know, each region has different bonuses for succeeding. You know.
Yeah, I mean, they've got on the side of the maps, they've got all these places that, you know, look mapped out, but there's no regions yet. I mean, they could easily do like a PvE area where the different regions go to sort of battle this out with the different ones, and you could actually resolve it that you know, let's say everyone in Osteria, obviously it's a bit like real life stuff. I mean, you know, the Europeans, the Americas, and all that, they're all split by oceans and stuff, and you could easily kind of create something where we're battling against. So all of a sudden you're bringing all the Asterians together, or all the Borderlands together, fighting for another region, but you have to fight together. So all of a sudden all the enemies that you had, you're having to be shoulder to shoulder to fight against something to actually get this big prize. I think that would be better. I think the problem with the Conqueror City is that it's like one city, and it's like a lot of people just aren't interested in participating in it because there's only one title and that's it. Whereas if they had like multiple things that you could at the end of the season as a reward, I think people would go for it. Do you know what I mean? Or more achievable.
Yeah, I mean, like, one thing I was thinking about with that was, like, if they did make it region based, like before they open up Borderlands, what if they did like when they opened the borders to north and south, like what if they did something where you could attack like you can attack Torovoros, or you're gonna attack Angolia. There's like a huge event where like all the houses can go and attack it and earn points towards something. I don't know.
Like a seasonal leaderboard or something.
Yeah, it could be something like just a regional thing where like top three houses with the most points, or maybe alliance. I don't know how they would want to go about it, but I would think the top three would get bonuses for their region, and that would give them like maybe like more resource gathering, or maybe more purple nodes more often, or it can be, I don't think it should really be stat boost because that's kind of a disadvantage, you know. It's a disadvantage to other houses, and doing like resource stuff wouldn't be too bad because it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's not a huge deal, but maybe it is a big deal for some that like want to make kits, or maybe even could be a kit thing where like, oh, you can make all these kits here now because you guys scored this many points in the siege, like just something along those lines where you're earning something for hitting it that helps your region. Problem is people move regions, right? So like there could be an issue where one region could dominate all in a way, unless it's only like west can fight west or east can fight east. It could be where you stack one region.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see an issue if there's like a dominant house. It's just that, like I said, I mean, because at the end of the day, then you're bringing everyone together to then fight a different region. So it could be that your enemy in that region then become your friend, or it could become a bigger threat because they've fought you so much, they've moved to this different region, and now's their chance to shine. So. Yeah, and I think it could form new kind of relationships, new modes of communication with these different, with these different houses as well. So it could be quite interesting.
What about yourself, Glyn?
Well, to be honest, like you, boy, I was actually just going to start bringing it back to another question now, because I think it was this whole kind of concept could again expand as much as you wanted to. Yeah, there is going to be issues where people change regions and all the rest of it, but everything like that can be sorted out if they rolled a system like this out. But something which brings people together, I think, is only going to be a massive benefit, because like you said, Rudd, at the minute it feels like them, us. There's no reason why you wouldn't feel that way. You wouldn't feel like, yeah, those are my enemies, those are my allies, that's it, that's all I care about, that's all I need to know, and that's how I'm going to play. But actually, big kind of nationwide PvE events would bring people back together, and then rewarding people with bonuses, like you've said. But that would, again, change the whole dynamic of, at the minute, just territory wars, capture this fief, defend that fief, that's it. And actually, all the fiefs, when you break it down, yeah, okay, you get different unit kits and stuff from fiefs, but really a fief is a fief. It doesn't matter what you capture. Yeah, there's towns, there's forts, and there's villages, but you're not getting really anything special from capturing certain fiefs other than the unit kits. So actually having big PvE or big events which encompass all the houses in a region, and then them gaining bonuses for it, I think would be a lot more rewarding than just capturing a village at the corner of the map and that's it.
I mean, they do need to work on the latency issues. There are latency issues that I mean, I don't know if it's on the server side or, they're...
I've noticed more latency issues the last few weeks.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't know if
need
that's
to
because
get
more
that,
people
like,
are on. Possibly.
Once they have that figured out, it would be nice.
Yeah. So moving away from that now, what, very quickly, because I know we're fast approaching an hour now, what kind of units would you guys like to see from Season 4? So starting off with you, Rod?
It's got to be Samurai, right?
Yeah, I agree, because they already did it West.
Yeah. I think they're already in the game, firstly, most of the units that they'd be releasing. Makes sense for the tree to kind of go in that direction melee-wise. And everybody in the community is just screaming for it now. Like a Far Eastern Japanese,
I was going to say
Asian
Samurai. Samurai is the most called out for thing, and I've fast realised that when I published that Samurai video I put out on my channel the other day. A lot of people want Samurai, and it will make sense as well, but that's where I thought it was going, personally. However, there was a guy that left a comment on my video who I know quite well through the giveaways and stuff that I do, and he actually said that the managers, they may be talking nonsense, they may be trying to throw us off the scent, but actually they've said that the units are going to be units that no one expects at all.
Elephants.
Russian.
Elephants, yeah.
Give us the elephant.
That's hilarious.
So if it's not Samurai, what other kind of units would you think it could possibly be?
Well, they had all kinds of crossbow type units.
No.
In the East too. So, but I feel like they kind of did that.
So things like Arbalas and things like that, Zim, you mean, yeah?
Yeah, I would assume it'd be something along those lines.
Viking, maybe. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I think.
Viking
I mean,
would be.
my money is on Vikings. So I think some Viking units is something that they haven't really touched on yet. But the other one I would like to see, and I don't even know if they've even thought of it yet, was basically Greek-based units, because it's around the same era and stuff like that. You could have like Greek fire, where it starts spreading and stuff like that. You can have, I mean, Alexander the Great style units, stuff like that. So I think that would be quite interesting.
So that kind of style unit as well would play very well into what we was talking about earlier about navy battles as well.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
That would be a cool thing to see. Yeah, Greek units. That was actually another very, very much called for unit type in the video that I made. But personally, I really hope it's going to be Vikings. I really, really hope it's going to be Vikings, like big, two-handed, dual axe, like wielding berserker type Viking units.
Iron Reaper style units.
Yeah.
I think
not even. I mean, cool. I wouldn't say Iron Reaper exactly, because they didn't use a lot of armor. Vikings didn't use a ton of armor. They were very like fast, mobile units, as I remember.
Tactics, weren't they?
Yeah, like I think they would be fast. They'd be fast unit, kind of like Condottieri, but with axes. I don't know how often they use a lot of shields, but they definitely use axes a lot. I'd have to do more research on it.
It's where like shield walls and stuff come from, though, like interlocking the shield wall and things like that.
Yeah, I believe so. Round shields, though, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they'd be like javelins with axes. Maybe they can throw them. I don't know. Like
cool to see.
That would be awesome.
Another good thing about it, if it is Vikings that's coming in, is it's going to put the focus really solidly back onto melee, isn't it? I think still we're in a position where cavalry kind of reigns supreme. We are getting more and more units to counter cavalry, but I think really cavalry still reigns supreme in this game, and that's actually the tree you need to go for if you want to make it. So I think having Vikings or even Samurai, to be honest, would bring that focus back onto the melee side of things a lot more, wouldn't it? Such as like using the shield wall. If Vikings unit came in, they could actually deploy out proper shield walls. I know we have shield units already, but actually these shield walls would offer something different than the shield walls we already have.
And it could create for a very interesting warlord, if that's their intention as well, to bring in a warlord for season 4. Yeah. So like hatchets in the hand, or a single hatchet with a shield or something like that, something quite Viking-like or something like that. The other one I really want to see as well, because I feel like the ranged warlords are a bit thin compared to some of the other ones, compared to the melee class, would be maybe a crossbow warlord as well, to kind of support maybe the samurai route, if that's what they're looking at.
Well, if they do crossbow, I would like to see it where you have the little bolts instead of like giant arrows that you're shooting, because like I would rather see something where you can attack a lot right away versus like this long wait like musket where you have to reload and shit. Like, I mean, yes, you have to reload, but it'd be cool if you can have it to where like, oh, burst fire or single fire kind of thing, like if they can do something like that, that would be super cool, because then you have this hero class where you can play two different ways also. Like if they can start doing that, because the problem with hero skills right now is like everyone tends to use close to the same build, because like that's just what makes the most sense. Like that's just how you want to use them in most situations. So you use those skills like poleaxe. Most poleaxes use the same damn skills for the most part. So like what if they made it a big enough dynamic to where like you can go two different routes, which would be cool in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think also you kind of hit something there as well about the warlords. I mean, it does seem like everyone has the same setup, and they, talking about some of the skills that people never use as well, because they're just not as great as some of the other skills of that warlord. So it'd be interesting to see if they can make that more diverse and more interesting. I know they kind of tackle it slightly with what with the clothing and with the attire, with the armor, light armor and all that. But it would be nice to see if they can make it a bit more diverse. So maybe you get stronger in one area and stuff like that. Because at the moment, I mean, you've got some classes that are just they're just good at blunt damage and that's it. But it would be interesting to see maybe if that splits into two branches, so you're focusing more on X, rather than Y.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there is all these great things, but I think their biggest holdback on like putting a lot of time into the game is seeing where the game, like where they can put a little bit of effort in that can make a big difference on the player base. That's, I mean, if we can find simple solutions for them, I mean that stuff would get done right away. The big things are just obviously they have the systems in place, but like it takes a lot of testing, and of course we're here for that testing, right? Like feel free to
absolutely.
let us test this stuff all the time, or if they constantly want to try and test things, we're always, a lot of us are free to do that. So I wish there was more testing is one thing
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
say too.
Well, that's been their reluctance to release the elephant. Apparently, it's already modelled and everything. They just don't know how they're going to what type of, whether it's a unit, whether it's rideable, or whether it's something you call in. They still have no idea. And I mean, I reckon they should just decide on doing both of them, and then give it to us to test.
Good
And we'll
test,
give it a go. We'll do it as a rideable, see how that pans out, and then do it as a unit. And,
that's the thing. It's one of those things that you're never going to know how well it's going to work until you try it.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
you just got to break the bullet and do it, haven't you? So I'm going to start to look to wrap up this podcast now. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about very quickly for the last couple of minutes? Like anything that we haven't already covered at all?
One point I have before we go, sorry Zim, just quick. One suggestion, without development, how would you maintain new player base coming in? New guys starting the game, what are you guys wanting to add that's gonna keep their attention that's not already there?
So I've actually just started a brand new character for a video series I'm doing, and I'm glad to see actually that they've really buffed up the starting stages. So they're introducing players a lot softly into the game. Softly, that's not really a word, but more softly into the game. Whereas I remember when I first started playing, I don't know if it's the same with you guys, when I first started playing, it was actually choose whatever weapon you want, choose a load of options from a stat page, which you had no idea what stats even were at that time, and then off you go do some battles, and that's it, see where you end up. So I think already they're going down the right route of introducing people into the game a lot better and explaining some of the systems a lot better than actually just dropping people in the deep end. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, something big that we didn't talk about is the tournaments.
We can talk.
True. We are allowed to talk about it.
Yeah,
we can.
Oh yeah,
we can talk about it.
I'm gonna be posting a video about it tomorrow probably. But like with that coming up, we just need to get a group of people together, at least content creators, so we can come up with ideas and host stuff together and have like multiple casters. Like some of the biggest games are big because of their casters. Like just the entertainment of having someone sitting there talking about what's happening in the game. People learn so much from it, like talking about the strategy at play. People would love that. And like when you start doing the 15v15s or even 5v5s, we finally got the maps. So there's a lot of things we can do. Like my first one's going to be a dual tournament because I've never held a tournament before, so like I'd rather just do a dual tournament because it's easy, no units yet, kind of test out the system, make sure it all works well, and from there I want to go from like having like a 2v2 tournament or a 5v5 tournament. So there's a lot we're going to be able to do with that, and I think that will help the new player base too, because you're like, oh, there's tournaments where you can win all these cool prizes. You don't have to be the absolute best and have all the stuff, all the units unlocked to win, like, because you can do tournaments where it's like only T3, or you can set the rules to whatever you want. So it's up to us on how we shape the new player base to be able to enter those. Maybe do one for new players.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Zim, because I've totally forgotten about the tournaments, to be honest. But yeah, there's if done right, I think they're going to take off massively, aren't they? And like you said, I think they will be a massive help for new players coming in and actually learning the systems of the game very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives it a bit of a buzz as well. I think the thing that we're all excited about, is obviously the server, but I think a lot of us are also really excited just, working together as well as enthusiasts for the game. So I think, trying to get that profile out as well, organising the tournaments, working together as well. I mean, there's already been some people asking for to co-host some of them, especially when their first language is in English. So I think that's really exciting. I think being able to do that and just getting the profile up a bit, getting the content managers involved as well. I think they're really pumped for it. They're very excited about it, and they can see the potential, which is really exciting.
Yeah, yes, and I think there's a lot to build off of that.
I think again that those tournaments will continually develop once we get them started. It's one of those things, I think, which will snowball very quickly and actually will take off as long as it's done properly and it's done right. Like exactly. You said, about getting us content creators involved and actually hyping it up and getting people involved. I think it's going to be a really important aspect of that.
Yeah, I want to see, more content creators working together. I feel like we're so separated all the time we're all doing our own thing, which make perfect sense. But like, I was happy to hear about us doing this podcast. I remember me and you talking about this like a long time ago, where I was like, maybe we like just sit down and talk about the game, or I remember us talking about something. It was a while ago, but this is the concept I think you got, and this is great because it's not super exciting gameplay or anything, but at least we create a voice for everyone that aren't actually working for the company. So that's pretty cool.
And that's kind of the idea I wanted. Is obviously we're giving across our opinions, we're showcasing what we do in the game and our content and everything, but actually I would like it to be where we all become the voice of the community as such. So actually that divide, although I don't think the divide is that great compared to some other games, but there is still a divide between obviously the community managers, the developers, the people that actually play the game. There always will naturally be that divide, but actually that's why I kind of opened up this podcast with actually how good us content creators are kind of getting it with Conquerors Blade, because they've already got the great groundworks for it. We can just kind of fill that gap in between everyone then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like one thing I would say is like I am looking for more people to co-host tournaments with me. So if you guys want to help, or if you need co-hosts, let me know. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, definitely. I need to kind of look at it still. I haven't even looked at it properly, to be honest.
There's a lot of stuff. I literally made a Discord that breaks down that whole email we got.
I would to know what's going on, but Drew won't give me content creators, so
we'll talk to him. We'll talk to him. We'll talk to Drew.
Awesome. So I'm gonna wrap it up now. I don't know if you want to give your codes away now, Zim, or do you want to wait until this is ended?
You know what? I will just do it on the stream, so then it's just easier. Okay, you guys don't have to wait around or anything.
Well, thank you very much for tonight, folks, for coming on. Moonflom, Ruddus, and Zimster. Everyone that's listening, again, I'm going to put links to the description in the description box below for all of our channels. So if you want to check us all out. If you want to just check one of us out, all the links are going to be below in the description box. So go over and have a look and say hello as well. Say hello to us. We don't bite. Even Ruddus doesn't bite.
Yeah,
he sounds like he will,
miserable.
but he won't. But
Maybe miserable, but I'm quite a nice guy inside.
So the idea is we're going to roll these out at least every 2 to 3 weeks, and predominantly they're going to be on my channel. Like I said right at the start of this podcast, we're going to try and get the community managers involved as well. So if you have any questions for the next podcast, which should be coming up in a couple of weeks time, leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you on the next podcast and we will try and answer your questions. But for tonight, thank you Mouflon, Ruddus and Zimster. Great to have you along and great to see that actually this is the kind of thing that we all want to be doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, pleasure, man.
And I will catch you all in the next one. And everyone that's listening, thank you very much for listening. If you haven't yet, please do hit that subscribe button just so you're always notified when these come out, plus all the other stuff. Go and subscribe to everyone else involved in the podcast as well. And we will catch you on the battlefield.
All right. Happy hunting.